Today in the studio, I've got a real dulce for you. Folks, Carlos Munoz in the house. What's cracking?
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here in Vegas, man.
This guy, mainly like a rock star down in Mexico for sure, but getting well known here in the United States with the name Master Munoz. Basically, your expertise is scaling profitable businesses?
Created my company in 2004. Brad scaled that up to 2019, and it runs smoothly and grows perfectly without me.
That's the perfect model, right?
Yeah, I love it. So now I've created everything I learned through 15 years of working and creating that company. Now I've built it into a toolkit, which I call the NOMEG model. And that's what I'm doing currently. Working more on my funds, working more on growing the NOMEG model. And it's been a ride. And you know that it's scaling a company in Latin America where capital is scarce is different than in the US.
Yeah, well, if you can do it there, you can do it 10 times here.
That's the idea. So that's what we're creating this model so that more people can use the system we're using.
And it's called the NOMEG, NOMEG.
Yeah, that's the NOMEG model is it's because it's the neural organization model for exponential growth. That's the toolkit. So let's run a couple of things around the model so you can wrap your head around this. The first thing I think is wrong around companies is that the organizational design of companies is completely it's wrongly done. Why? Because companies are created like dictatorships. Like you have the top guy, right, and then three more guys on this next level, and then there's actually no leadership inside of companies because it all depends on one guy. Who's that guy? That's the owner. That's the Brad Lea of the other company. There's always this huge guy on top of the org chart, which actually constrains growth for companies. So the org chart in a NOMEG model company is actually a matrix structure comprised of business unit leaders, and then crossed with your commercial leaders, which could be territorial sales agents or could be channel, say, different specialists for agents. So it's a matrix structure where there's actually nobody on top. It's results and accountability driven, and that completely changes the game because when you're in a structure, I call this a results-oriented work environment. When you're in an environment where you can actually tie a number to every one of your leaders, then now it's not about who's better than me or do I like you or not. It's are you giving the number? So it's a beautiful model. It's a beautiful environment to work in because everybody knows what their number is. If you get to that number, then we're all growing the company, right? So that's the basic part. And the accountability you create inside these roles, the results-oriented work environment, gives you the ability to change the way you compensate people. Now, I use a lot of what I call phantom stocks. I don't know if you heard about this, right? But it's instead of paying you could pay variable through a commission, right? But the way I pay variable is I pay variable through the profits. So because business unit leaders tell me exactly, give me the money at the end of the month, they know what the company's making, and they get a percentage, but out of the profit. So they get phantom stocks out of every business unit. Now, you're creating this new structure where everybody's accountable, and they're doing up till the profit. They know what the company's doing, and they're getting paid through the profit they're creating themselves. So it's a completely new way of making a system, and then you put people in this new structure, and the system starts to play around. It moves by itself. It's a live system. So this is the first part. I don't know if we're good here.
I'm following you. My question is now, what does the top dog do?
So the top dog does four things. Every business that we have, it's not actually one business. It's a chain of businesses. So the first thing the big dog has to do is create new businesses around that chain, right?
Vertical integration.
Yeah. So creating new business. The second, he needs to run the talent factory. Another part of the NOMEG system is I need a talent factory because the only way to run these companies is if you have the great people in them. So you need to create a funnel of people.
Well, dude, I'm telling you, dude, I'd be $1 billion company already if I would have mastered this.
Yeah. So the second part is running the funnel. And I'll tell you a couple of tips on how I run the people funnel. And then the third part is running the central bank because the money is placed there. And then the fourth system is getting the board. I tell companies, even very, very small companies, like companies doing $1 million a year, I tell them to have a board. So the big dog needs to report to the board and needs to be working with the board. So those are the four things. It's easy.
A board of advisors,
yes,
or a real board?
It starts with the board of advisors, and then it transitions through 4 stages through a real board where you are accountable, where the big dog is accountable. That's the beauty.
I don't know about that. I don't like that.
I know, Brad, but this is specifically for people that want to exit the company. So the only way you could exit the company is making sure that the top dog is accountable too, because that way you're not going to be the top dog. You're thinking you're going to be the top dog throughout your life, but I'm thinking I'm doing this to 2025, man. I've already set up my life that way. So the new company I'm building, I've already set from day one, 2025, 31 of December is my last day. So then there's going to be a next top dog, and I want him to be accountable.
Yeah, well, that's when they become accountable.
Yeah. But you're building the board for that point.
Well, the only reason I'm shy of boards is because when I started this company, I let 2 of my buddies in, so there was 3 of us in the beginning, and they all talked me into getting a board, and blah 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 blah. Well, once the board was established, they tried to use the board to fire me and take my company.
Oh.
But little did they know, I had rules in the bylaws that prohibited my removal. I had what's called a super vote, which means I will always outvote no matter how much percentage I own, no matter what. So anyway, that's why I'm shy of boards, dude.
Yeah, but the way I started is just an advisory board.
Well, that's what I'd recommend people do that are listening, that are the top dog and they don't want to, get in that situation. Just simply get a board of advisors.
Right.
But it's a little bit different. You're not accountable because you already know you can tell them to fuck off. So you want to get high level people that you really respect. Pay them if you have to, but they meet once or twice a month, and all you're doing is giving them your P&Ls, and telling them to hold you accountable.
Right.
Kind of like you tell your friends to hold you accountable to working out or something. But if you don't, you can't lose your company.
Right.
I wouldn't recommend a real board until you're replacing yourself.
Exactly.
And then you sit as the chairman of that board, and then damn Skippy, the CEO's accountable.
But that's why I aspire. I mean, for me, the real success for an entrepreneur is actually exiting the company. So I'm preparing companies for that exit for the top dog.
Yeah.
And that's the day I exited my first company. I can tell you it's the most beautiful thing that has happened to my life. It has made me the ability to reinvent myself. Now, the guy you're seeing right now, I could have operated 10 more years in my consulting company and doing the exact same thing. I got the opportunity to reinvent myself. I got the opportunity to start doing my social media, my personal brand. I could have never done that if I had not exited the company, because it took me 18 hours a day, man. I work like hell. But I was working operating inside. So the time I exited, now it opened up the doors to a couple. And I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff now that I can set up ways in which companies can actually work without me at some point.
Well, the thing you said that I think most people don't understand about building a business is they'll end up in a job.
Yeah.
You said it runs without you now. See, I need to read your book. He's got a book, by the way, folks, the NOMEG model. You should be looking for it. Go on Amazon. Google the NOMEG model, Carlos Munoz, and get that book.
And this is something, Brad, that's very, very new in English. Because, I've been doing content in Spanish for a couple of years now. We've created I have now the largest account in Spanish talking about entrepreneurship. Probably a lot of your audience would not know that. But if you want to practice your Spanish, you can also look at that social media. But this is my first book in English. So I'm really, really excited. I've done 12 books now in Spanish. This is going to be my 13th. It's going to be lucky 13. But the first one I've done in English, and it's I'm changing the game. I want to come up here. I want to do more stuff in English in the U.S. So I'm very excited about that.
So out of curiosity, when you exited your business, did you ever get a big fat lump sum? We've been a couple of times trying to get that company to actually sell the company. The exit I've done is what I mean by exit is
I do not work there. I have a general manager there, and I get paid every month. But I've not sold the company, if that's your question.
Yeah, that's what an exit means to me.
I know. I mean, it's different types of exit. That's the selling exit. But the way I think about exits is if it's taking you 1 minute of your time, then you're not exited. That's not. But I think there's another way to exit companies, which I don't know if I want to sell the business if I'm not paying the correct multiple. I mean, I've got offered 3 or 4 times, but they want to pay me shit. I know what the business is worth because I know how much money it makes. So I want the correct multiple. And if I don't get that multiple, I'm not selling. I want to keep the cash flow.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take 1 minute out of my time. I just go to a board meeting every 3 months, and I get my money deposit every month. That's a beauty.
Yeah, well, if you can teach businesses to do that, everyone's going to be beating down your door.
Well, that's the idea. That's the NOMEG model.
90% of the business owners that I know, and they're making tons of money, but they're required. And
Right.
and not only that makes their business less valuable. Whenever you exit for, you sell it, that kind of exit, they're looking at the staff, they're looking at the team, and what happens if the founder or the main guy leaves. Well, if the answer is we're screwed, your value just dropped considerably.
Totally. It's a kindergarten. Most companies.
Yeah.
Like you get the kindergarten teacher there and nobody knows what they're doing. They're just... But the key behind that transformation, Brad, I think we should speak a little bit about the talent funnel I work with. Like I've created a system. You know what the main problem with small companies is? You want to hire a new position. Say you had whatever, marketing, sales, operations, whatever. You go to the job market, post something, get 3 people in. These 3 people are looking for a job, so they're actually shit, and you get the best of the worst. That's what you're hiring. So you're hiring a C player, and you want the company to be the A game, right? You want the company to be the first in class in the world. But you're hiring talent. It sucks. Now, the way I do talent, and I get criticized a lot about this because it's hard to implement, and especially in the US, but let me just explain the way I do it. I get 5,000 resumes in. Out of those 5,000 resumes, I invite the 50 best people into a 2-week seminar in my company. Okay? They're not getting paid for those 2 weeks. I'm not, and they're not paying either. It's just 2 weeks to get to know each other. Those 50 people. Out of those 50 people, I get the 10 best, and I get them into a trainee program. Out of the 10 trainees of the program, I find 1 or 2 that are going to be leader candidates. They're in the bench now. But you see, the person I get inside the leadership, the way I'm working, is 1 out of 5,000, not 1 out of 3. See the difference?
Oh, yeah.
So the talent density inside the company changes radically. And that's why it could actually work as a results-oriented work environment, because they know what they're getting into. This is a very different ballgame. We're not playing at the same level. When people start to understand the talent density that's required for the VUCA world we're living right now, the volatility, uncertainty of the world right now, the complexity, they're not. Now you start to understand why these companies in Silicon Valley are doing so great, and the plumber out of your corner is not doing the same results. It's because of the talent density. These guys are getting all the talent. Now I've created the way I teach it is I want to create a system where I can actually attract that top talent, and that's really changing the game of the structure.
Yeah. Well, talent's hard to find. Sometimes you have to create it, and hopefully you have some good clay to work with. But how do you process those 5,000 people?
So part of the system is understanding what are the keys, right? I want people that are creative, blah, blah, blah. So it's a process inside. I have a staff that runs through the 5,000. We don't get an interview everyone. We have several keys that we found that are interesting in the resume, in the way they did in the way they wrote the email, like that. And we try to find the 50 best. So the interesting work, the tough part of the work is getting those 50 in the room. And instead of thinking that you're recruiting them, you think that you're trying to sell them. So you showed me that beautiful room you have downstairs for the seminars. That's the perfect room for getting those 50 talents. And you're probably thinking about getting 50 people to spend 2 weeks out of their life. It's hard. It is hard if you're looking at it very locally. But if you're looking at a global standpoint. You can get people in from Latin America. You can get people in from Asia. You can get people from anywhere. And you can get them in the room. And then you can really find those gems, which are actually, that's what you're looking for. You want to do the 2-week 50 room just so you can find the 2 gems you want to bet your ass off in there. And that's the beautiful part. You're only looking for 1 or 2 leaders at every day. Now we do this seminar, the talent funnel. We do this twice every year, and that gets me new blood every 6 months. So you can imagine the level of competitiveness inside the company, because people know that the new guys are coming, and these guys are, every generation that comes through that boot camp is tougher, it's stronger, is they work harder, they're smarter, they know more digital stuff. So the velocity, the speed inside the company changes.
See, again, that's something businesses would pay for.
I know.
The VT system, it's got the ability to create an interactive video that you could literally use as an applicant screening tool. So imagine having 5,000 people.
And screen them through LightSpeed.
Well, you just send them to a website, basically, and instead of just a video or a page with some questions, you pop up, hey, thanks for considering working for Master Munoz out of curiosity. Bing, 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 start asking them questions. Well, some of them might not even make that cut.
Right.
Because the interactivity will weed out the dipshits for you. So now you don't have a staff going through 5,000 applications. You have a staff going through 300 because 300 clicked the right buttons and didn't prove to be dipshits from the get-go.
That's right. That's right.
And then that's a feature you also sell with the system. When the system's up and running and you're talking to a business, we'll even give you the applicant screening tool all dialed in to where you just drive traffic. And that could be a landscaping company or fucking IBM. It doesn't really matter. Why? Because, dude, if you came to work here, yeah, could I get an application, please? I'd say, oh, you just go to lightspeedvt.com/hire me. And that's where you start. Once they go there, boom. The virtual version of me says everything I want to say, or I would have said, and asks all the questions, collects all the data, and either books them an appointment to talk to some human or says, thanks, we'll be in touch, which is basically go fuck yourself. If anybody listening wants that feature for their biz, again, reach out, dude. LightSpeed VT. It's the most incredible technology on planet Earth. This is what I mean. Remember when I said people don't pitch their own shit on their podcasts? I never do, and I'm going to start doing it. Why? Because I've had people listen to the podcast, find out about the technology, and then sign up and be like, dude, why don't you talk about that more? Like, I don't know. This podcast wasn't started to pitch anything, but at the end of the day, now that it's got
everything helps.
Now that it's got billions of listeners.
You have to put that bum thing in.
Anyway, so yeah. If you teach businesses that, I'm telling you, dude, everything you're saying right now makes me think, shit, let's stop the podcast. How much you charge? Like, dude, I need to get that going with my business. There's people making millions. We make millions. I still need it. Where's the talent pool? Just teach me how to find and cultivate talent, which, by the way, a VT system would be instrumental in that. Instrumental. You got to train and develop people after you find them. I mean, just because you find gems, well, now you got to cut and polish that gem to fit your company.
Yeah, the way I do it specifically. So it's different when I see the general talent inside the company, like operational positions and stat, and the leadership positions. I spend a lot of my time working creating those leadership positions, which are not that many positions. But the way I do it is I have what I call the leaders table. We do one mentorship a week, and that's part of what really creates the leaders. And the interesting part, the way I do it is I think of this as a round table, right? So let's say you have 4 or 5 business units. They're sitting down at the round table. But the same 5 guys, you get 2 people from the bench, future leaders, and they're at the same table. Now, there are no hierarchies because this is a very flat organization. And every week, every one of those leaders tosses out their problems, and the mentoring is created peer-to-peer. So the group is actually mentoring itself. That's the way you can balance out and you create that shared consciousness that actually drives these leadership teams. That's the beauty. But that, again, what I believe is that the big dogs, the CEOs, do not want to spend that mentorship time to the leadership positions, which actually a huge part of the results is getting there. So
well, a lot of them don't have time because they're doing
they're doing the operations. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing what other people in the organization should be doing, but
Exactly.
but they don't have any accountability. They're not finding gems, and they're not creating leaders.
Yeah.
Like me, I would love if I just came in to see how sales is doing. Oh, man, you guys are kicking ass, man. Keep going. Holy shit, dude, look at the technology. The dev team's killing it. All right, I'll see you guys next week and roll out of here. That would be unbelievable. I'd pay big dollars to have that take place.
I don't know if you want that actually, right? But
Oh, I do.
it's
Dude, you know what I like doing? Smoking cigars, shooting the shit, and being on stage, teaching people. Like, I like to get a bunch of people in a room and start talking to them. By the end of the day, dude, they go out and start attacking the world. I get people just on my social media DMing me. Dude, because of you, I started my business. I just hit $100,000 in my first month.
Yeah, those messages are beautiful.
And it's like, dude, like, that's what makes me, because I think every single person on earth should have their own business. Now, whether they work for someone else or not is irrelevant. You should have your own business just for tax purposes, just because that entity will eventually prove to be way worth the $300 it started to start a business, a quote unquote business.
All right.
Not to mention, dude, if you're still picking up the ladies, you know, you're the CEO as soon as you start a business. So now you're not the janitor at IBM. You're the CEO of, you know, whatever. You can switch when you want to. And then get your book and figure out how to develop a huge business that you can exit from, either from a time perspective or financially.
Yeah, or both. Yeah, or both.
Ideally, time-wise.
Now, I just want to mention one thing, because people wrongly believe that they're going to find a clue. And usually what I'm most tired about is they want to find one clue that is the actual clue that will make them create this NOMEG system or this exit or whatever you want. And I just wanted to really, really emphasize that implementation of a NOMEG system is a 2-year process. It is a very hard process to implement, and it is not something you will learn in a 30-second video, because that's what people are looking for, Brad.
Yeah.
And I really want to mention that, because I'm helping companies transition through that, and it is hard. But once you get the correct DNA inside the company, the next part is the easy part.
Yeah. What's up with the sport coats? Every time I see you never wear the same one twice, seemingly.
Yeah, now I have like 500 of these.
Yeah, but I've never seen you wear the same one twice. It's like, why don't you just rotate them? Some of them are like some of them have to be badass. I saw one you had, which was half red, half green.
Yeah, that's the Mexico one. That's a beautiful one.
Yeah, but like, dude, I'd just wear that in rotation. Do you have any in rotation?
Probably like 10 of them, like my really favorite ones. But people want to look at me and they want to see the next one, right? So it's now it's an issue. Now
Who
it's
does
part of the brand. So I have several artists doing them. Some are like this one was actually it's a bot shirt, but an artist did the work on it. So it took like 3 weeks of artist work on it. So it's really now an art piece. It's not actually.
So you go buy the jacket, have it all perfect, and then you hand it to them to make something with it.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I cut them out, and sometimes it's just the way I'm feeling. Like, you know, you're feeling that way. I was feeling I want to do something artsy, so I gave an artist this one.
So what started all that?
So I was in a real estate conference. Remember, my first company is real estate consulting. So I was in a real estate conference. It was 1,000 people event, and I'm giving the talk. I had this great speech, and but it was several speakers. And 2 hours later, I was at the coffee table, and there were 2 guys talking, and they were like, "What was the best speaker you think?" And it was this guy, the young guy with blah blah blah. And then they turn around with me, and they say, "What? How did you like that conference? Did you believe that was the best one?" And I'm like, "They're bullshitting me. That was mine." And they're like, "Yeah, the guy that talked about this, that." And I'm like, they didn't know it was me, Brad. I didn't have a beard. I was wearing a black suit, and I turned around, and this was a big hall, and I turned around, and it was 90% men wearing black or blue suits. I literally got so mad. I threw the jacket I was wearing, the blazer I was wearing, I threw it in the trash and ran out, literally to find a store. So found the store, and they had this red suit on. And that was the first suit I bought. And I told myself, this is never going to happen to me again. I mean, the work it had taken me to get to that stage, and for people to not realize it was me, I felt dead inside, man. So that it started everything. And now I'm crazy about it.
So now it's just to stand out.
Yeah, it's just to make sure that the master was here.
It's all marketing when it boils down to it, isn't it?
At the end, yeah. At the end, you need to be very radically disruptive, which is one of my books is about in Spanish. Radicalmente disruptivo, Brad. Radicalmente disruptivo.
Yeah, and let me tell you, sometimes that anticipates or causes more hate.
Yeah.
And that's what most people are afraid of. See, because somebody could be like, dude thinks he's so cool. When in reality, you just freaking snazzied up a jacket. Like, dude, it wasn't all that. But you with jackets, not so much. But I've thought about, like, how do I stand out? So I'll roll out, and people say, "Oh, you're real. You drop F-bombs." But yeah, but so do other people. First of all, and I don't want to be known as the dude that cusses. So I thought, what do? I got to put a character in place. But then I thought, well, then that's not real. And it would totally go against my brand, which in my opinion has been established as real, dude. I just tell you what it is, whether you like it or you don't like it. So I can't necessarily get that showmanship going. I want to, walk out and smoke cigars and wear dark glasses on stage and, come across as this flamboyant freaking badass, but wouldn't be real. So what do you suggest I do?
I mean, I think it goes down to what is real. So, Brad, I wouldn't, I got you a present right now. I hope when they edit this video, they put this in. All the military stuff, all that, I would put you in an accessory. I brought you a gift that you're going to use, but I would use something that is relevant to the character and to the fact that it is you come across with such an aggressive personality. Like, I'm a tough guy, man. In Mexico, when I see you, every time I see you, Brad, you come across so aggressive that you need something that can accentuate that. So you tell me, I got you a big ass knife. So you should put this in the video. I got you a big ass knife. You should be rolling around with your fucking knife in your hand. That's that. If it was me, I'd do that, man.
Just roll around with a big old knife on my side.
Yeah.
What's it for?
Can we get it? We still have a couple minutes.
Yeah, Legacy can go get it.
Legacy, can you bring? There's a box. There's a box there, and bring it over, please. It was when we were at the conference. At
Client Lounge.
Client Lounge, yeah, that.
Dude, I don't know if I'd do a knife, but I need to do something. Just, again, I don't know if I'm remembered, but, a jacket's a pretty good idea because you won't get much hate from that. That's where I was going is, like, if I come out and act like a big shot, I'm gonna get a lot of people getting turned off by that.
But wait. That's exactly the only reason I'm back here. Because the level of aggressiveness, like when I need that level of aggressiveness, I look at your profile and I need some Brad Lea in there. I think that's instead of going against that, you should accentuate that. I think that people connect through social media. Like, I don't look at your videos every day, but when I need that level of aggressiveness, of toughness, I look around and see what Brad's doing, right? So I think you should use that on your favor.
Yeah.
Now, towards the conversation of hate, currently, that's something that has happened with me. I have a lot of hate, really a lot of hate in Spanish. Now, especially because in Mexico, economic conditions are not as good. So they look at somebody that's successful. Oof. Let's see.
Well, thank you, sir.
I'll tell you a bit of a story about that knife.
All right.
Just invested in a company in Mexico. And we bought more than tens of years of expertise and there's a town near Guadalajara, which is actually known to be the second best town in the world for creating knives. Okay?
Really?
So this is done by a master knife maker.
Real leather.
You're gonna look at this. This is made by one of the top knife creators in the world. and this is specifically created to be both a working knife for if you want to go cook at the outside, and also it's also can help you as a machete if you're in nature and you need something to cut something big. This is it. So you're opening up a real work of art out of one of the best artisans knife makers in the world.
Damn, dude, this is a good old solid box. You had to wrap it to get it here?
Nah, yeah. Imagine bringing this stuff in the play, man. My staff brought it, and I actually forgot it, and my staff, the one that flew over here, bought it. But this is the good part of the video for TikTok. Brad opening the.
I might need those. Here, give it to me.
Good thing we edit everything.
A lot of suspense. We don't edit anything.
You don't edit it.
This is raw and uncut. Yeah. One time we had a bunch of audio issues. I let it fly. Damn. Let's have a look-see here.
Look at that.
That's a heavy duty right there.
Look at that beauty.
You want me to wear this on my side, you say?
Yes. This is the way I'll tell you how this thing is used. This thing has like a belt that goes on your leg, and this is both again something you can use to cook, and it also is used when you go into nature. You can use it to open up weed and stuff like that. So it has that perfect combination of both. Now imagine you come into a room and you have a knife in your. That's the aggressiveness of the Brad Lea character we're talking about.
I don't know if I'm that aggressive, am I?
No, but the scene is, and people should comment when they see this video if you think Brad should wear the knife, at least to the keynotes. That would be great. Look at that. Look at that.
Dude, the handle, the finish.
Look at that beauty. And this is actually made for people that don't know Mexico, which, by the way, I don't understand why people are so close to Mexico and don't visit it. Around Guadalajara, which is very close to tequila, where you probably know tequila, right? Tequila. Around that zone, there's a small town that the complete town is dedicated to knife creation, and we bought one of the main companies there, and we bought one of the master knife makers, and this is again one of the best knives you can actually see in your life. Look at that.
Dude, I don't want to cut my finger off.
Look at that.
Now that's a knife.
Now that's a knife. That's a Brad Lea knife.
That is a Brad Lea knife.
And then you put that in.
Pretty badass. I walk around, people are gonna think I'm Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, but you put it in, and then it has another belt on the back. I'll show you later. And there's a keychain in there. You saw that keychain right beside it.
Yeah.
Open that up. That keychain is if you need fire when you're outside. You open that. The little tube. Open it.
This thing.
Yeah. Open it. It has like a screw thing. Yeah, you open it, and then you create fire. You create fire with that.
Dude, this is like freaking badass. Emberwood is the brand. If you guys don't have an Emberwood, no, it says if you own an Emberwood, you own stories.
Emberwood.co. Yeah.
Dude, this is badass. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm gonna freaking consider wearing it at least once, see how it goes over.
Yeah.
If everybody's on the feedback, they want me to wear it, just mention it in the video, in the comments.
Yeah, make sure Brad does one keynote with this thing and see what happens after that.
Dude, it's an aggressive looking son of a bitch. So if you're saying I'm that aggressive, well, then I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think so.
So back to this. Every business in the country listening to this podcast or a business owner is going to want to reach out to you. They're going to want to freaking know more about the NOMEG model. How are they going to do it?
I think they should get towards my social media. We're working with Brad to get this thing on the run in English as soon as possible. Before today, Everything of my content and my programs are done in Spanish. We're working on getting this as soon as possible in English. But just jump into my social media. I'm starting to do 10% of my content in English, and then I'm going to transition it to try to be 50-50. But right now it's mostly in Spanish, but I'll make sure that you get much more content in English. I'll make sure about that. I have a very large social media presence. So I have YouTube, more than 1 million, Instagram, more than 1 million. TikTok, now I have 4 accounts, Brad.
Wow.
You're not doing TikTok, man.
I am.
You should be there.
I am.
Oh, you are? I'm not following you there.
I just started a couple months ago.
But anyway, I have 4 accounts, toppling more than 2 million in TikTok.
That's huge.
Yeah, I do everything, man. Again, I do nothing, but it does everything.
It's a lot of content. People can get tips, tricks for free in a lot of ways.
We do about 80 right now. 80 videos a day. 80
a day.
80 a day. That's what we're publishing right now.
Do these guys just follow you around?
Yep. I've now a staff of 30 editors. Just so you can, just so people understand the work that's behind this thing. 30 editors to create those 80 videos a day.
Bam.
Yeah.
but it's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. To me, it's the way I open up connections to my funds, to my real estate funds, which is at the end the goal. And the brand has grown organically, and I felt that it was, if something's growing, why not? Why let it stop? So we put in more money in, put in more staff in, and it has been a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you mentioned why don't more people go to Mexico? Well, like I go to Mexico. People go to Mexico. They just don't go all over Mexico.
Yeah.
When you say why don't people come to Mexico, what do you mean, like Guadalajara?
I'll give you 3 homework destinations. First of all, Mérida. That would be my first stop for you.
Is there a beach?
It's very close to the beach. It's a 30-minute beach. But the beauty about this thing is that this is where the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs hit. So there are literally hundreds of underground pools. It is beautiful. These are called cenotes, for people who don't know. Do you know what a cenote is? Okay. It is a cave.
I don't barely know what an empanada is.
We need to get you down there, Brad. These are caves with water. And these are literally hundreds of pools underground. Beautiful.
What's it called?
Cenote. That's the name of the underground pool. This is Mérida, the place. Mérida.
How's that spelled?
Merida. Mérida. This is like a 3-hour drive away from Cancun, just so you understand. It's around that peninsula.
Well, most, at least Americans that are a little bit, sketchy of Mexico. It's not. It's because of the freaking cartel, and you'll get your head chopped off, and all this bullshit that they hear on the media, which is just the media.
It's the media.
Yeah, every time I've gone there, everything's cool. I mean, shit happens there, but shit happens here. People in Chicago talking about, oh, you go down there, you get killed. Fuck, you go to Chicago, you'll get killed.
I know. I mean, it's PR is hard with us. I mean, we get a lot. If something happens and it gets amplified like 100 times. But this, by the way, Mérida is the safest city. It's safer than the Netherlands. This thing.
What about Zacatecas?
I wouldn't put it on my top 5. It's a great spot, but I would put, if people want the colonial feel, they should do San Miguel de Allende. That would be my second one.
I wouldn't go to Zacatecas just because it sounds like that's what you're going to do. Zacatecas. What about
San Miguel de Allende should be the second one, by the way.
San Miguel
de Allende. This is the most beautiful colonial town you're gonna see in the American hemisphere. I mean, it was mentioned one of the best cities, the best tourist cities worldwide. So it's a beautiful, beautiful walkable little town where you have the church, same as similar to the one in Barcelona. So it's beautiful. If you want to spend like 4 or 5 days there, just walking around, it is the most beautiful place.
Do they get many visitors?
Yeah. And there's a large English speaking community there. The place is so beautiful. When you're there, you understand it. When you're here, you haven't even heard of it. Maybe when you're there, you see it. It's beautiful.
Do you own a bunch of real estate in Mexico?
Yes.
Now, see, that's another thing that I think people don't realize. Like a U.S. citizen can't own beachfront property,
right? But they can own it through a trust, right? That's the way you can, and they can invest with me.
Well, they should.
Yeah, they should
because you know the area.
Yeah, and right now we're in August we open up another fund which is beachfront. Actually, I own a lot of land in Mexico, but right now I'm transitioning to another fund for beachfront properties, and they can invest in my fund and they can actually use the properties. They get a discount if they use the properties. The fund gives them some rental, and then they get the appreciation out of the beachfront. Which beachfront, by the way, it was huge in the pandemic year. Airbnbs, rents, and stuff like that, they were huge. But yes, I'll give you another one, a couple more, so just so the people are listening, they're here, and they can message me whenever they want. I make sure I can be that tour guide for them. Valle de Guadalupe, very important one. This is actually very close to here, Brad. It's an hour and a half drive southern of Tijuana.
Really?
Yeah, it's our Napa Valley. The best restaurant in Mexico currently is there. I mean, it is just the greatest 5 day. There's like 100 wineries and stuff like that, and you can spend there. Very beautiful hotels there, and just the food there is absolutely amazing.
What about travel tips? Like when someone says, drive through Mexico, that sounds scary to me. What if you get pulled over by the federales and one of them's Miego Badada with the Sinaloa cartel?
I mean, Brad, the thing people need to understand about Mexico is that the rules are different in the sense that labor in Mexico is so cheap. And I don't mean it that in a bad way. I mean it in a way that it's actually, you can get much more service down there, which is it creates a different way to travel and a different way to live. Like if I was traveling and driving, I would get you get 2 drivers and you get one security detail if you want. I mean, that's exaggerated completely, but it's very cheap to get all that. And if you're going to these hotels, like around Mérida, it's the best boutique hotel in Mexico right now, which is called Hacienda Chable. That hotel, and I think every room has like 4 people for your staff. It's like, so when you get to Mexico, you're going to realize that you're going to be so helped by so many people. It is just absolutely beautiful. The level of service we have, and believe me, I've been around the world. The level of service you get in Mexico, you're not going to get anywhere else. But at the price, even less.
Yeah, but what are some tips? Little known tips.
Little known tips. I would.
What if you get busted by a federale? Do you offer them money?
You see,
because you offer the wrong one money, now you're going to get freaking in trouble for that.
I would always travel with a local. I mean, if you get passed by a federale, get how to say multa. Get the ticket, man. I mean, the ticket is 2,000 pesos. It's $100 ticket. Like here in the U.S., you get tickets and they're $700 or something like that. God wants to remember. Like the federale, if you're speeding at 120 miles an hour in the highway, the ticket is $100.
But the federales aren't going to pull you over and like take you out in the desert.
You've seen a lot of bad Mexican movies, man.
Well, dude, I'm just trying to educate the listeners, because there's a lot of people out there that when I talk to them, hey, let's go to Cancun, let's go to Cabo, let's do this. Oh shit, I ain't going to Mexico. I go, why? Oh, for cartel down there will chop your head off. I'm like, dude, trust me, I brought my kids there. It doesn't happen. It's not real. And they're like, yo, dude, federales pull you over. They're all crooked. I'm thinking, dude, they can't all be crooked. Some are crooked. Of course, some cops here are crooked. But what if you get pulled over by a crooked cop? If you ask me, you're fucked.
But that could happen here or whatever.
I can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
But what if it happens there? What do you do?
If it happens there,
can someone DM you?
Yeah, you should DM your Mexican friend and make him fix it over.
All right. So if someone wants to invest in Mexican real estate, you'll reach out to you for real? What's the ROI on that?
My fund number 1 is doing 24% return, which is actually great. But again, that's in pesos. Remember, it's in the Mexican currency. I did a
24% in universal.
Yeah, I know, but because they tell me you're getting pesos, and then the return is on the pesos, right? You're getting. Right, so that's important to say. The good thing about the beachfront property fund I'm creating right now is that this is in properties in Airbnb get rented in dollars, and the properties in beachfront get valued in dollars. So it's much more tied to dollars. I'm aiming at a 20% a year return. But again, this is compounded with the rental, which you get rental returns every 3 months, and then at the end there's the appreciation, which gives you the kicker at the end.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't ask for a lot. People invest with me from around $25,000, so it's not that much.
So back to the scaling of the business. So if someone's listening to this, the NOMEG model will be out soon in English. So look for that, folks. But reach out to Carlos if you're even curious about this. But before we go, my curiosity in this is the talent factory. What's your number one way to produce those applicants? Because I always tell people the people you really want, they're not looking for a job. They're already working.
So we got 3 sources of the talent funnel. Number one, and this is going to be interesting, and I'll tell you the story before I had the big personal brand, and now that I have the personal brand. But before I had the personal brand, this was the number one source, and it's actually referrals. We make every one of our people post in their Facebook profiles the fact that we're opening up this boot camp. And there's obviously incentives, right? So that people can put, and if the people that come in win, they get bonuses and stuff like that. So actually, referrals is one of the best sources of talent you can get, because people want to work with people they know, right? So that's huge. The second thing we do is we have a tour that's going around the universities. I don't do the tour myself, but I have people going there, and they're speaking and just giving motivational talks in the universities. And they literally just say, this is the ideal world you want to live in. If you want to work in a company like that, just go to the next boot camp. And that's a great source of traffic for us. The third one right now, which is the most important, was obviously my personal brand. I put up a couple of Instagram stories, swipe up, and it's huge, the amount of people that come. And obviously the fourth one is a traditional one. You go into these... we post the publicly the boot camp in the talent in the pages and people get to know, and we have gotten people from those sources to traditional sources. But the important part here is, as you see, it's not one source. It's actually you amplify the amount of sources you're getting, so you can amplify that number in the top of the funnel. And before I had my personal brand, we got like 1,000, 2,000 people to get to those 50. Now I have 5,000. And now it's easier for me. But I teach this to companies that I do, and they get 500 people on the top of the funnel, and they get the same 20, 30 people coming into the boot camp.
And then once you identify them, you onboard them, train them, what's next?
They are in again, not all of them, but the ones that really are actually future leaders, they are set up in a process which is called the leaders table, which is they are rotating internally inside of the company, and they are being bred up to be that leader. But they know from the beginning that they're being bred to be the leader, which is actually very interesting, because people inside organizations don't know if they're going to be a leader or not. In my organizations, very before, like maybe a year or 2 years before you're in that position, you already know you're being bred to that.
Yeah, probably creates some sort of competitive environment.
Right.
What's your social media?
Master Munoz Oficial, that's the Instagram. You can just say Master Munoz, and you'll find it. It's everywhere.
Master Munoz Official, folks. Go look him up. Appreciate you coming all the way out here. Appreciate the tips.
We're gonna do a breathing thing in Mexico soon.
What?
With a seminar or something, man.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll come down there and I'll sell tickets to something where we do it in Cancun.
But why don't we let's do it? Why don't we do it in one of those underground pools?
As long as there's a beach.
Yeah, but again, if you take them to Cancun, same shit. We're going to do it in one of the cenotes. What do you think about that?
The mastermind?
Yeah, inside one of those underground pools.
Are there bats and shit?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We're going to do it. Imagine the video footage inside there. That's where we're going to do the thing.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. I've seen pictures of that cool shit, but where you're flying over it and you see a hole and there's water down there.
Yeah.
Is it safe?
Of course it's safe.
How do you get in the fucking thing?
Some you just jump to the water.
How do you get out?
There's a stair. Some are rope stairs if you're really into the aggressive ones. Some of them are fixed stairs. But again, there's smaller ones, bigger ones. Some are caves. Like you walk through a big cave just to get to the water.
You go to those a lot?
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, dude, send me some pictures. I'd consider doing that.
And we have I've actually
I'm bringing my knife.
I have one that's actually close by to Cancun, so we can do it over there.
Well, dude, I appreciate you coming up. Folks, share this out. Make sure that you go follow Master Munoz. And until next time, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the Real Brad Lea. Subscribe